Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're back. It's been a little while, but I've been busy having a few off-camera podcasts with Mr. Santa Claus because I've got kids and a lot of family. But tonight, I'll give a shout out to me longest running sponsor, Look Productions. They are one of the largest media companies in the UK. They've worked with BBC, Sky, ITV, and of course me, Blind Man B. Now, I've got a long-winded podcast that I wanted to get onto my list from day one, but we're both busy men, and he's an absolute legend on the radio. I called him the Northeast's Customato, and I'm going to call him it on here. It is the Northeast's Cuss. It's Mr. Alan Buller. How are you doing?
Not too bad, Rich. Not too bad. This COVID, it's knocked a few of the shows off for a little while, but we're surviving. We're happy to do boxers regular.
That's it.
And we're just waiting on coming off on June. A possibility of unlicensed coming on June and Shields.
Brilliant. So has obviously all of your training stopped, hasn't it?
Just stopped from Friday. They're gone till the 12th of January, then we're back on.
Mint. So is there any fighters that you want to talk about tonight from your Wandsbeck Warriors, or any fighters that you've got coming up?
I've got three lads unboxed, non-bouters really, and then I've got three others. I've got young Kai Leothard. He's 18. He's unboxed. He's come from the football into the boxing. Dylan Wilson. He's currently going with the lass who's the daughter of the last hand round me. He's 17. Seppi. Sean. What's his second name again, man? Sean Craig.
Yeah.
He's 30, mainly he's 32. He's about 100 kilo, 101. I'm getting him the way I want him now. They'll expect him to come in banging, but he's got some good head movement on him now. I believe in when you get them on, you get the heavies, or he's a bagger. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to use your head, you've got to be able to use your skills, your speed. A boxer will always be the banger at the end of the day. You know that? Mm-hmm. That's where I've learned to box rather than just bang on you. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. So just for a little bit of history for me viewers that don't know who you are, Alan, do you want to just want to tell them how you got into boxing and how long you've been involved in it?
Been involved in the boxing, I was a 30-year-old. I'm 64 coming December. I was 30-year-old. My son was not long going to be born. I've got him a lad from Washington, and he set a little gym up, and I'll start learning a bit myself then, but it was 34 was the ultimate then, you see, at that time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's once you're 34, you're over the top. But I was 30. Me and a lad called Colin Wallace from Washington. He's done the doors when I've been on. He's a couple of years younger than me. Kicked off from there. My eldest son's 35 now. He came in 85. Got him on the track locally at Ashington in a scout at the top. Just where the Social Security is, on just off Woodhall Road. 9-year-old then. Couldn't box till 11. Got what I wanted out of him. Took him to Blind Empire. I've done 7 years there with Les Walsh. My lad he boxed for the Blind Empire School of Boxing. And we went on from there. The other son boxed. My daughter went in for a kid close. Got in with the boxing, enjoyed it. Took the laddie from the age of 11 when he got his first bout. He got a good few wins, he done well, put Blythe on the map. And a big name actually after his first fight against the kid with 2-2. He turned around, it was at the jumping jacks. Mm-hmm. It was Jarrah.
Yep.
And the man that handed him, after stopping the kid, the man who handed him a trophy, and I still got the photograph, was Johnny H. Tracy, well-known boxing legend.
Wow.
Since then, he became a fella, young age. He was like out of it by about 17, 18-year-old. He boxed when he was 11 in the amateurs, up over. He boxed some good kids. He boxed Bradley Saunders from Sedgefield. He's been on the telly before. Paul Truscott from Middlesbrough. Ricky Burns and that. He was well known around the country was Alan. And none of them had time for him. Bradley Saunders here. What was it, 100 fights? I think he lost about 7 or 8, and he said the hardest junior fight between 11 and 17-year-old was Alan. And it went to a tight points decision, but Bradley got it. And Bradley's finished now. He had 15 bouts as a pro. And in the pro, the 15 bouts, he lost the last one. It was so headbutt by accident, but his hands were all gone by then anyway. His brother, he's in the most fit for the England crew now, you know. But like I say, I just went around and just started enjoying the boxing. Got a few places in my own for a little while, and then moving on, started a few lads up, you see, and I thoroughly enjoyed it from there, you know.
So what did you enjoy more? What have you enjoyed more than Buller? Have you enjoyed throwing the hands or teaching people to throw the hands?
Teaching people to throw the hands, just teaching them to focus on the bag, keep their hands up, you know, like sort of move around the bag, step across, lean back, slipping and rolling. In the boxing now, it's what you do, you hit and not be hit. Basically, it doesn't matter what these bangers going in and tiring themselves out. You know, a boxer is a boxer. Muhammad Ali, Mayweather. You can get all the big hitters forming in them, but they've ended up getting... Everybody's been beat, Ali's been beat, but at the end of the day, the big hitters, even like Tyson, you know, it becomes... They take a toll with him, you know. And if you're good enough to be boxing, keep your head, keep your composure, you know, hitting and not being hit.
That's it.
Flipping and rolling, stepping across, you know, pivoting each side to side. That's basically what the boxers are supposed to be about. You don't have to have 12 knockouts or 14, 15 fights. You know what I mean?
Now, what used to get right on my tits is I was obviously taught by Ken Forrest, which is kickboxing.
You know Ken very well.
And the thing is I was very fast with my hands, and when I went to train at a certain boxing place in Newcastle, I'll not say where, I was told that I punched too quick and I have to settle down. Now, I'm sorry, but when Andy Ruiz Jr. took on Anthony Joshua, it was the fast hands that fettled him.
that was it, wasn't it?
Aye.
That's exactly it. You know what I mean?
So was he right to tell me to slow my hands down, or am I doing right by having them quick?
I would honestly say you kind of go around with fast hands, actually. You know what I mean? The faster the hands, the more shots thrown off, and as long as you can avoid being hit after that, your head movement and that, you know, and your footwork. When you first start boxing, you go on with your footwork first. Your hands is up, you get your footwork and your balance right. And then at a later time, you come about your head movement after you get your stamina up on the bags. You know what I mean? Your style comes last, your stamina. You know, your speed and your stamina, you get them two on, and the last thing you want to learn is how to make a man slip and counter, roll and counter. You know what I mean? Lay backs and come back in with 2-3 shots.
Now, Alan Buller has seen young Bass box, and what do you think?
What do I think?
What do you think of my boxing?
Not too bad. See, now we've got like a garage to work in now, but obviously, you see, old school, it just goes to show you. And the old outside my yard, as you knew, at the end of the day, is old school.
Yeah.
But we've had over the last 3 years, though, bear in mind, we've had 42 fights. We have won 26, numerous knockouts. We've won 26, we've drawn 2. We've actually lost 14 fights. We've been up for 4 belts. One's what we won. And on the last hurdle, on two belts. The lad who was boxing then, he's took a rest at the minute, young Josh Johnstone. Now, he come against two ex-pros who got big on points. But he got no respect off them two. Said he would go far. But the young ones nowadays, drinking and other things, is just, it's hard to keep them at bay, even though they're really good boxers. But bear in mind, 14 losses, we should have only had about 11 losses by rights. I mean, two of the three belts that were kept until they went on the last hurdle, they were ex-pros. Chrissy Bennett from Newcastle and Dougie Curran. Well noted, ex-pros. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Giving away age and experience and weight, and we didn't do so bad, you know. So basically, that's now we're in with young Craig's there.
Yeah.
You know? They weren't saying young, he's 32. But he's got the garage now, so we'll move on to that, and the garage does all right. We're out the road of the weather, and we're out the road of the dark in the winter, you know. It's all right where we were in the summer. But
so
that is the experience for 20 years, you know.
So do you think it's daftness then? Like obviously Mike Tyson and that wanting to come back in the late 50s. Is that stupid, Buller, or is that?
Well, I tell you what. After watching him training, after watching him with Jones, you know, that was obviously that was just an exhibition, but on cards he would have beaten Jones there, mind.
You reckon he's still got it, like?
He's still got it up to a certain extent, but obviously medically wise, you've got to watch. You know, I mean, you're supposed to be finished. We're not with us until the Masters come about. It used to be like 34, then you can get around 37s. You know, like what's his name? Like Joe Joyce and that. You can get 37s and that. You know, some are coming back, but it takes a lot of 50-yard line. It takes a lot up. It's got to take its toll at that age. So.
When I asked my father about the fight, he went, he's a fucking pussy. I went, who? Mike Tyson? He went, way I'd knock him in 15 seconds. I was like, well, I dad.
Then you wake up, Paul. Then you wake up with a pill in your mouth, Paul. You probably beat him at building cars, right?
I've got to give it to him though. My father versus Mike Tyson would actually be an interesting card. He's big enough for him, isn't he? He's big enough.
I was still waiting for this guy at 42-year-old to get back to us. Well, I did get on the Facebook to him. He's from Shields, and Andy Nunn.
Aye.
And he boxed young Josh. He only lasted 19 seconds, like through the town straight, and so he hit the deck. But he's had MMA. He's had about 19 MMA. He may have won about a quarter. He's had about 4 fights. He's been stuck most of the time. But nevertheless, age, experience, and with this COVID on, he says, I can't put the weight on there, Alan. I says, well, look, I went from 95 to 82, I'm back up at 85. If I'm still in the 80s, would you fancy an exhibition? He says, aye, but I says, I'd rather get into the 77s, and he was 74 at the time, now he's 70, and he said he's trying to come down a weight. I says, well, do you know fancy fighting? And he went, with the COVID, he says, I can't afford to eat. I says, I'll send you a few food parcels. And he just laughed.
What? Wait, I was talking to Glenn McCrory the other week on my podcast, and apparently there's going to be a fight between him and Evander Holyfield.
Aye, and did he have the Lennox Lewis and Tyson maybe?
Aye.
But what you look at, mind, Tyson was finished when Lewis boxed him, mind.
Aye.
Let's be honest. You know? So
Lewis killed him.
She picked and chose exactly when to pick his time to fight Tyson. If Tyson hadn't had the carry-on he had, right, if he hadn't have been in so much trouble, not just the rape charge, but the drinking and driving, falling out with his wife, you know, Robbins, if Customart had probably been, a lot of people said it, if Customart had been alive this year, maybe he would have went on a different track, and he might still have been strong for a few more years.
Well, I watched an interview about all that carry on, and even Mike himself admitted it. He turned around and said if Custamato was still alive this day, he'd be a completely different man, because he says Cuss wanted you to be perfect, and he was very strict. And I mean, personally honest, Don King ruined him.
He's a good Muhammad Ali favour, right? He loves him. He's an absolute, gem. Ali was his hero. And you know when he fought Holmesy?
Yep.
when Tyson fought Holmesy, did you see it on the telly? It shows you when they were introducing him, said, now he has a celebrity, well-known celebrity, so obviously Ali, you know, not in the best of health, come over. He not at Holmes, but Holmes, he knew Holmes picked on him at the right time, you know, and not long before he was diagnosed for Parkinson's. But you see, he wanted the fight, he wouldn't back down. But the hero was Tyson, he was Tyson's hero. You know, he went up to, he shook hands in the ring, not at Holmes. You know, he said to Tyson when he went past him.
Go on.
Beat the boss.
And he absolutely yorked him, and Ali gave him a right hiding.
He did, he didn't half york him, did he?
But I tell you what it is, though, Larry Holmes came in out swagger and confident, thinking, I'm going to knock this young'un, and he didn't. Like, he got absolutely belted all over that ring off Mike.
And then he ended up boom, boom, boom on the floor.
So in consideration of boxing history, would you say Muhammad Ali was your favourite of all time?
The best technical boxer in my era, my life, has been Muhammad Ali. And for that weight, heavyweight, the best hitter, it's not George Foreman, it's not Floyd Patterson, none of them lot. It's Tyson.
Because I said the other day, Glenn McCrory, I said my favourite three boxers of all time were Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
Did you see a third one? See, you were the same as me. Sugar Ray Leonard.
No, mine was Marciano.
Oh, you're still going back there. But you know, when you pick different weights, you know, and you go into the weight category of like Hagler and Leonard, that superb, you know.
I've always been for the heavyweights, me, but I don't know why. I've just always been for the heavyweights, you know. But Glenn, funny enough, Glenn turned around and said, apart from Ali, he reckons the best boxer in the world was Sugar Ray Robinson.
Sugar Ray Robinson, he was up there now. Well, honestly, when you think about it, mind, and you think hard about all them lot, there's been some decent boxers, mind, you know. The people didn't have credit, they like to, they look at what's his name now, they go, Ricky Hatton, he's a bum, so I'll say no, he's eating pizzas, he's on the drug line. But you know something? They didn't give that man credit. He's only been beat off to the best pound-for-pound punchers.
Ricky Hatton only went that way because he was severely mentally ill and he wanted to die. You know?
I was talking to him at the Discovery Centre at Penrith. Mm-hmm. And you know, he's a lovely lad, sat on the table with his belt, right? Around his waist, and he says, where are you lads from? I says, from Ashton, Northumberland. He says, oh, right, is that the pit village? I says, well, he says, yeah, he could say. And he says, how many you got on the day? I says, a couple. He says, you looking for us? Right. And difference with him and some others, the kids were coming up and he was there for them to sign vests, sign shirts. He never once turned anybody away. There was any mountain there. He never once turned anybody away. Nice polite talk and all that.
No, he's a good lad.
He'd sign any mortal thing and he was like, well, a lot of people do that talking, right? He says there's a meet-up face-off. Sometimes it's for what he called, sometimes, you know, he says for the cameras and that. But he says, you know what it is, though? He says, with me, he says, I do my talking in the ring.
Aye, there you go. Exactly, yeah. Nah, he's a good lad. I've seen loads of documentaries about him.
I'll tell you the ones I've seen. I've seen Richie Woodall, because he was interested in young Matty Wall when I had him. And Danny. I got Danny with. Danny turned pro, like, you know. He went to Tommy Conroy, Sunderland. Danny had 3 and win 2. And then he just went by the way, you know. It's not an easy thing even when it's on pro, you know, keeping the weight and all that, you know. But Danny met it. I wish my son had met it in the beginning, but you and Josh had the best chance of the lot. Most ones bet warriors, you know, the lad I told you about.
Aye.
He's had 11 unlicensed, he's 22-year-old, for him since he was 9. The longest he's been out now was 3 months. He's not numbered with different people now. He's had 11 and win 9 alone on the unlicensed, and on the unlicensed of the 9, he's stopped 5 of them. And there's been like army champions and that, you know.
Aye.
But
canny.
It usually happens, doesn't it?
It does.
The ones with the quality, you know.
So why do you think, Buller, that a lot of boxers end up knocking it on the head and becoming pissheads and depressed and everything? Like, why do you think they hit the drink and that? Do you think they do that because of the boxing or with the pressure in that? Because I've noticed that.
See, it's a bit different how people... Well, some of them think they're far too superior anyway. They wouldn't have gotten beat, like this or that. And other ones, like, sort of, they're getting the wrong company. But there again, you can take a horse to the trough. You can't drink the water, can you?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You see, it's a hard... it's a hard trail to get up there. But young Josh had the best chance he'll ever have. I had 4 people alone. Pros, Paul Charter's name.
Aye.
Mal Gates. They've all got champions. They've got Tommy Whitfield, and they've got Ritson and that now. And they've got all say it all. Quality of that kid, if you can keep him on the straight and narrow, be okay. He had 46 AB years. He won 2/3 of them, even boxed through bad injury. But nowadays it's like, the way it is now. It's not just the drink that gets that the young ones are taking now, as you know.
Oh yeah, no, it's all the drugs.
Other things like they're being dragged into the way it is now. It's all changed now. If anybody had a problem 30 years ago, it would be like, they've gone out the pub, have a straightener, man's had enough, shake their hand, and about an hour later, you'd be going to another pub, you'd be playing in a domino or a pool handicap, and you'd be playing with the same guy, and you share a drink with each other.
Aye, because that's what it was like. It was a punch up in the car park, right, fair play, you won, let's go and have a pint and lick our wounds,
It's like New Year, the old Year's Eves, they left the hoses open, they went away, they're close-knit, everything was it. You couldn't do it now because they're in knocking on your door. You're not in knocking on the door. That mobile phone or there's money line. It's all. There's a lot of drug related at the minute. There's a lot of things going on now.
It's too much robberies going on for like crack and spice and everything, and it's gone. It's gone to hell in a handcart, to be honest with you.
So, it has. When you're a boxer, you get you're disciplined, you're a sportsman, you're disciplined, you know what I mean?
The problem is with boxers as well, Bullard, I don't know if you've noticed it, but you'll get the odd chancer here and there that goes, oh, you're a boxer, are you? We hoe then, let we go on,
Oh, that's been done a few times. That was done with my son a few times, and believe you me, honestly, I don't care what it is, what people say. People grab a boxer, try to rush him to the floor. But if they're just like sort of troublemakers and a half drunk, and the boxer is standing wanting to keep it a bother. I've seen it happen before inside the domino, and I've seen when the lads are now proper. He's not here today, like he's not here now. But drink on him or a fight the world. Picked on a boxer for now. I knew the boxer around me. I knew the boxer very well. Even come over and ask, "Is that your mate?" And I turned around and said, "Listen. Whatever he does, he does." I've tried to tell him to keep it under bother. Well, the experience he had, he hit the deck 3 times and he was definitely asleep the 3rd time. And every shot he threw, wild shot, the guy, obviously, you don't use it in the offence, he's just using the defence, obviously. The guy, would counter straight to the middle, bump, and the head was just the head was knocked back that many times. The nose bust, the mouth bust, and he gets himself back up, staggering out, do you? At the end of the day, the lad looks over and he says, "What about they know?" And I went, "Yeah, this is life, you know what I mean? Put yourself in that predicament, you paid your line, and boom,
that's
help
it.
The lad up, fetch him around, and the boxer come over and apologise to the lad. He says, when he's sober, I'll buy my pint. He said, I didn't want it to happen, but I says, you had nailed out. So you had nailed out, choice, man. That's the way it is.
You must have had some mad nights as a doorman, like, especially around here.
Christ. My God. You know what it is? When the Lucifers closed down before they opened up again for it to be the Palace, I was in a place called Morsha. You can remember the cafe in Ashton?
Yep.
I was in there and this guy come up and he says, I've been telling a few lads that. Alright. He says, you like a bit boxing, you've been on the tour and you're pretty well respected. I goes, oh, it's alright. He goes, aye. He said, I'm opening a nightclub. He didn't tell us the name, He says, and then I think the penny company says, it did have to shut down a while back, and when he told us where it is, I went, oh. He says, well, if you click on, he says, it's ex-Lucy's, but it's going to be called the Palace. He says, is there any chance you do the doors there? I says, oh, I'm working up the street anyway at the time. And I says, no. I says, no, you're all right. Too many memories and too many mates up there, you know, like, it's, you know, you didn't piss in your own pot.
No, you didn't cack on your own doorstep.
That's it, isn't it? You know what I mean? But,
so what was it like back in it was the 90s, wasn't it, when you were doing it? Because I know it's different now being a doorman now, but I see like documentaries and films of being on the doors back in the day. It was more fists than it was words, you know? Is that true?
You know it is, Richie. The more respect, you'll always give respect to the doorman when he's helpful, when he's not putting himself forward. You're supposed to calm the storm, not going or hide his way about, because a lot of these young's on steroids, big smile on their face, you know, at some cradle. I'll tap a few women and I don't care if the lad's there, I'll give her the way. And this kid's starting, I'll tell you what, I'll get me mate and me, we'll polish him off the toes. You know, them kind of doormen, they're not proper doormen. You know what I mean?
They're just doing it to show off.
Aye, you're there for the ear of the, you know, the pull house. You're there to keep the peace. You're there to help them the time they're there before they're on the way to them. It's like boxing. It's like me with a coach. I gone somewhere. If I was to go down Stoke or something, for instance, right, and I was with the lads, doesn't matter what age you are, even if I get known a bit older, but what I don't understand people is they're in your, you know, they're there with you. They're in, you know, it's like you're supposed to take the fatherly in, because you're there to get them waiting. You're there to get the fight shooted at. You haven't been ripped off.
No,
you're there to see that the lad isn't hurt. You know, from him leaving Jesus to him getting back, basically you're the foster parent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
So you're like, look, your job is to just look after them and stop the trouble, not cause it.
This is it. I had the door for 20 years. I've seen them all. I've seen them come and gone. I've seen the ones with names and all that, and you know, it still hasn't done them any good.
Aye, I remember I've watched a fair few things you see on the telly where the proper old school doormen are like, oh, you know, he comes here, I'll give him a slap, and then you've got the new school doormen that say, no, it's not about the fist, it's about the badge, and you know, this and that. So it's interesting to hear it on both sides, you know.
To be honest, if you do gain a lot of respect, though. I've had many people come up to me and say, you know what, honestly, before you come on, but when you're on now, at the end of the day, you're helpful. You know, you help, whether it's male or female, you help, you know, and you're not bad, you don't go on your way to boot things like that, you know, you're on people's faces, you just do your job, and I says, well, there is a time when you can't get rid of it, but that's a time where you give two warnings and the kids putting you in the face. He's for the third time he's pushing you. If you can't get out of it, you know, you try. At the end of the day, if there've been fair warnings, once bitten, twice I've not a third. That's the way I've worked it.
Aye. So
you get some of the idiots, Richie. You get some of the idiots, so, and I laugh at them when they say it, because I just use a little phrase when they ask. But they're standing there, whether they're drunk or whether they say they're drunk, but they're not really. And they're standing there, who do you go, like? You doorman, like? So you know what my answer to that is? I've got a white shirt and I've got a black tie, black jacket, black pants, black shoes. No, it's fancy dress, mate. Well, be honest, and he's trying to take the mickey in it. You know?
Are you a doorman, mate?
I mean, sometimes that could escalate. He gets right, but it has done once in doubles. And one day, through the glass one time, I come up the turn and I says, hey, son, I've taken you through that glass. I said, don't be throwing that again. He says, there's nobody there. I went, what do you mean? And I said, don't be doing it again. I says, because we went at score youth. And he turned around and he went, the doorman, like. I went, I looked at myself now. I looked at the lad across the yard. I went, I'm not a doorman. I'm dressed like one. And he turned around and he went, and I went, right, do you know what it is, mate? I says, look, do yourself a favour. Just don't be throwing any more glasses of wood just because I wasn't anybody there, but that could be shortly because it's starting, what do you call it?
Exactly.
Starting to get a bit heavy. So, next thing, another big class went. I went, yeah, mate. I actually approached him. Obviously, I was curious, took one step back, tapped him on the elbow, and I said, right, listen, mate, you haven't begun, right? So, there's an easy way to hard way, mate. And he went, well, what about the side of the hard way? I said, that's totally up to you, mate. That is definitely totally up to you. So he talks his left cheek. He says, what are you going to do? I said, listen, mate, once bitten, twice shy. He tore it again. I says, that's okay. So it doesn't happen the third time. Do you know what I mean? I'll not be responsible. So obviously he thought, who's this little much smaller than me? You know what I mean? Like, oh, short ass telling me I took twice. Actually, Davy Lansdowne, who had the bubbles, I had it on camera, so I was lucky. You know what I mean?
Aye, well, he's obviously just had one too many pops and he's trying to push his luck.
And then he come to throw a shot. I could have. I'm not a smoker, but I think I could have had a smoke, and I could have done a, you know, I could have done a 3 mile run, come back by the time it come over. So he got the shortest distance ahead. He hit the floor. He was only out for about 3 or 4 minutes. I went and done my duty. I turned him in the recovery. I put my jacket underneath him. I got my jacket all oily. I put him in the recovery, right? As I put him in the recovery, when he did come round, I'm standing outside the bar talking to my gaffer. He says, we've seen the lot. I says, all right. And anyway, they come around the bar. I'm on this side of the bar. And my mate was passing him at the same time. And he says to me, he says, I tell you what, and then he looked at James, who does bubbles, and he turned around and he went, he's been there for years. So I'm telling you, your doorman, the coat, he's broke my nose. And I said, that's a quick x-ray. You know what I mean? And he turned around and he went, you think you're right? I went, no, listen, I didn't. So he says, oh, well, I'm going outside, I hope you follow. When my daughter was walking down the bar, he says, Dad, don't bother. I went, no, I'll just try and calm down and have a word with him. By the time I got out, he was where the Black Diamond was. You know, where you got like
you got the alleyway and then the Black Diamond, aye.
Aye. He was standing there, and every time I walked a few yards, he was going, come on, he kept backing up. By the time I got between them two pubs, he was only at the railway line, one at the bottom.
So basically, he was.
You know, I can't be having this. I just thought, you know.
Just like teasing you, man. He was just trying to put you in a fettle.
The guys they put themselves in that position, Richie. And honestly, anybody will tell you a proper doorman is a helpful doorman. Just does what he can for the public.
So were you doing the doors of bubbles when there was that 20-man brawl on New Year's Eve the other year? I can't.
I've been. That wasn't the time when they showed the back gate or something.
I think no, I didn't. Because I remember I was talking.
I haven't been on the doors for a while.
Right.
The lad was asking us, what's his name, Davy Knox. He was asking us once my knee was better when I like to go to the door, you know, like they had the knee operation.
Aye.
Titanium knee. And to be quite honest now, it's like, it's not, I'm not worried about not any bad outcomes of that. It's just that it's not really pain as much as what it did then. You know what I mean? I think the most intimidating doorman I've ever met in my life was in town about 15 years ago. I'll tell you what it is, but I'm not exaggerating. He was about 6'10", must have been about 20 clem muscle, and he was black, and he had a twin brother with him. Two black twins that were built like the Undertaker. I'm not who they were, but wow, you're not getting past them in a hurry. Oh no.
So today's boxing, you're probably not gonna like us for saying this, but I want to know who your favourite is and who you think's got potential. Personally, honest with you, I'm a massive Tyson Fury fan. I said it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm totally the opposite, lad.
I said it.
He did what he had to do with Wilder. I got egg on my face. I practiced with the right value with the 2 fights. Look at that guy, you know, and a few fights and all this. I've never been wrong until he stepped in for the second fight and he done what he was asked to do. He missed cues. I just don't see him to gonna be, you know, like him and you know who I said would be in 2022, who my prediction would be heavyweight boxer champion. He got beat up a 30-year-old guy, right? And yet I think it was too early for him. That Dubois.
Oh, DDD.
Yep.
Daniel Dubois, the one that got his eye socket knocked off.
That's it.
Off
Joycey.
That was it. That was a good fight, actually. That. But so
I think it was just too early, that fight, even though he was 30 years in Dubois' doing.
I just want to see Fury v Joshua, because personally, honestly, I think AJ keeps ducking Fury now. Like,
right, he ducked Wilder, he ducked Fury all the time, right? So I'll tell you something, Richie. I'm going to be honest here. At the end of the day, them two lads got it on twice. Give him the credit. He did avoid them, right? And I mean, Fury went in with him. He knows he's a banger. He knew that Wilder was a banger. Not much experience, like I said. Experience usually pays off. Chicken legs, could bang, could knock you out. But the shot was there. It nearly happened with Tyson Fury once, didn't it?
aye.
But at the end of the day, if it was Wilder standing there now to fight Joshua, right? I think Joshua would be more worried about that one than a boxer like Fury, because, you know, Joshua he's better off with a boxer, right? He's terrified of a big hitter. In case it ends him altogether.
I reckon I could knock Anthony Joshua me, like.
You know, he boxed in Pulev.
Aye.
You know what surprised me, you know? I had the right rule on that, you know? Aye. But you know what surprised me? And I've always said it with him, what's the matter with him? Go after 6 or 7 rounds. What happens with him? What happens with Joshua?
He starts getting tired and annoyed and confused.
Why would he get tired, do you reckon?
because he's that used to being a 2-3 rounder.
I think he's that used to weight training more to the fact of weight training when he was boxing.
Aye.
You know, his build is just not built for it. Just not built for a boxer.
He doesn't look like a proper heavyweight. You know, he's a bit too lean, and I could knock Anthony Joshua easy, me. Like, if Andy Ruiz Jr. could do it at 20 stone, I can do it at 15 and a half. So
I've seen him the second time. I thought he was going to be the first man to give birth. Well, it happened, didn't it?
I mean, my father turned around and he went, "This is the year of the pie eaters for boxing."
I bet your father thought, "Same with the cards, I'm going pie eating and I'm going to get in for a belt."
I reckon that, yeah. My dad probably thought he could chin fucking anyone in the ring that year. But I've put a bit of weight on out with the lockdown. Like, I mean, the last time you saw me, I was probably 14-11. Now I'm probably touching 16 stone now. So I think I've probably went from cruiserweight to heavyweight if it's a boxing class.
Well, I went from 95 to 82, right, when I thought there was a fight there. And honestly, and then all of a sudden the bad weather came and I didn't get on the steps as much. Them steps are too mother damn were the one for me, like.
Aye, you're a machine. You know? You're an animal for your age to be doing all that.
I keep getting told of me.
Hell's bells, I run up and doing me apples in the house and I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. And then I've got people, I've got friends like Blinking Alan Buller doing about 500 stairs gone. Is that it?
You see, I've never been one. I've never smoked. I've never smoked. Didn't take drugs. I like a bit betting. I like a bit drinking now and again. But that's basically a little bit too far. But at the minute, with the COVID and all that, like, you know, it's not so much of enough for. You know, for betting, the bookies earning off, and the drink obviously, you know, engaging with people because of the, you know, they're not mixing because of the pubs. So really, you know, I would never like just to sit and go to a cafe and eat. You know what I mean? Or sit in the pub when it was there, you know, and drink, you know, until it comes to your lunch, because at the end of the day, I've never been one for sitting about hours, like, sort of. Generally, I've just been like wanting to be motivated, you know.
That's it. I mean, you've always been an inspirational person for many people. You know, we do say, well, I was probably the one that created this, but you are the customato of the Northeast, because you've helped so many youngins into boxing. You've probably you've bred champions and potential champions, and I've got to ask you this one question before I let you go. It's the hardest question. That's why I wanted to save it to the end. Boxing ring, Graham and Alan.
My brother.
Yeah.
Who would come out best?
Who do you think would come out best between your Graham and your Alan?
That's something. Anybody that listens to you and you ask them to ring in, you know what they say?
Go on.
I'll give you 3 guesses which one they would say.
Graham.
No. Graham's wise, Graham can move and hit, but Alan was exceptional. In the boxing ring, even Graham said, I would hate to be in the prime against my brother. Because Alan's 35, Graham's 31, and seriously speaking, Alan used the jab to exceptional. How many times I've seen a man move his shoulder to hit Alan in his boxing career, and he's beaten him in goal mighty quick. Straight through the jab, bang bang, jab again, bang. He's just Alan. Like I say, Bradley shoulder says it's a crying shame. You know that.
Aye.
I mean, he's got his brother Jeff's shoulder, so named after his father, young Jeff.
Aye.
Young Jeff's on the England team, yeah. He's been on the telly a few times, and both Jeff and Brad got a lot of time for a while, you know. Bradley says, why did he not stick it? And I said, I never know, you know. Through the school and that, and he was caught and then he had the band. And I never know. It's just, I wish that when he left Blythe and then he started like sort of just leave it be, and then I left in 2000, and then I got myself somewhere, a little place. I wish he had come to me and boxed for me. I've asked him a few times to come down there, but sparring, you know. He says it depends who his work is. I mean, you know, he's working at McDonald's. He must have been there for about 11, 12 years now. It's not the job he likes, but it's a job, you know what I mean?
Surely with them being brothers, though, they've sparred each other a handful of times.
Funny enough, not really at Blythe. They did have one that sparred Blythe. And I think Graham and the rest of it now, he knew he was alright, but the quickness and all was it's a lot of different. I mean, there's a lad there, Paul Truscott. He's from the South Point area. He was on Sky just over a year ago. He got stopped. He got knocked off the Welsh champion.
Aye.
But he had an amazing record. When I knew him as a kid, see him just on 11, 12, 13. He was about 3'6". He's about 6'4" now.
Whoa.
And, Paul Truscott, he swore by. When this came over there with Blythe Empire, Les Walsh, immediately, Dennis Powers used to say, I want him to go on with Paul Truscott to fetch him on, because your Alan's awareness, his quickness, you know what I mean, technical ability. And Truscott might rub off Truscott, you see. And then Truscott, he come on a lot, and he says, I like it, but I can't hit somebody. He says, and when I did start to get better, he says, I'll never catch him if you're angry, but he says, he's very, very fast lad. He says, and you've got to be thinking. You've got to think hard before you're going in with Alan, do you know what I mean?
Aye.
And Dennis used to say, the old tapes we used to have, Alan used to do the Muhammad Ali shuffle and that, you know, yes. With the fight.
What a
and
belter.
then, like, these bicycle runs across the ring, you know.
What a belter.
I mean, Tommy Conroy says to him one night, he took his gloves off him after the fight, you've just humiliated young Lawrence, right? Young Lawrence. He's come in there, he's got a good record, and I turned around and says, oh, that's the kid with the Rocky print on. He said, oh yeah, he's a good kid. You're honest, humiliated him for a round and put him down twice. He says, and he's actually took him and he's actually schooled him. He says, and then Dennis has stopped the fight. So Dennis Powers is a referee in the ABAs and he's a fireman. And Dennis used to say, lad, will you come here? Because he did a bicycle runs, you know, some of that, you know, like knees up there, and he did the snazzy things, he hated them. But you know, we started down through the South Bank, mate, what a rough place that is, mate. When we went through there, Dennis Powers says, I love you, young. He says, his quality. He took the young Toddy on at Newcastle, 9 out of 9, he says. Toddy said that was the hardest fight he's ever had. And Alan win on a majority in the wall, throwing money in the ring. And Dennis says, you know something? He says, I love the kid now. He
it's one of them things, though, isn't it? It's you cannot force people to do it, you know, and it's a shame.
It's awful, though. I mean, let's face it, Richie. If you had your own laddie or something, or even a lassie, like, if you had a lassie in the position of Savannah, you know,
Aye.
or a laddie, you know, like going places, you know, it is heartbreaking.
And especially with like ye being so into the boxing and the coaching for so many decades, and it must, when you see that potential in your own son, and you think, wow, bloody hell, he's gonna be the next big thing, and then boom, all of a sudden it's been shot dead, you know. I can imagine it's quite upsetting, but at least you got to see some of it.
You know what people say that I've never seen before, pull up at and come into like McDonald's and right in the car park, hear them talking about, you know, on the drive, what a lovely lad he is, and it's like that. And then one lad sitting in the car, oh, there's his fella, you know, is that your laddie? You couldn't get a nicer laddie. He's that laid back, his fella.
Oh, I've seen him a fair few times in McDonald's, and like he'd come over and he'd help us because obviously he knows about my eyesight and that, and I'd be like, I'd say, hell's bells, great, you know what it is? I says, yo, the W fella, but you act too calm to be a buller. He's like, what do you mean? Like, I says, wait, how I look at your dad, you know? And he's like, oh, me dad's a big pussycat, really. I says, you said that, not me. You said that.
You know, something, honestly, I've seen someone take off one day on the street, look direct the lad either way, the kid's coming back, I told him, just leave it. And the kid come back twice, you know, pull him around, have a clock with him on the back of the wall and says, I wouldn't hear bother. He's had bother at school, he'd never come off a loss at school, he'd turned in the cheek until he'd come up, you know, until it was the other way, and the kid come at him, and he was the first man to get him down to see if the kid was alright. Dropped to one chest that he was thinking the lad was dead. You know what I mean? That's what type of lad.
Do you think did your kids get bother at school because of their second name as well?
I had no big brothers. I've got one brother, but he's quiet as hell. You know, he's more of an educational. You know, he's never been.
I'm just thinking, you know, like with the laddies and Nicola going to school and the second name being Buller, a lot of people looked at them and thought, all right, how then, you know.
A lot of people love Nicola a lot. She's teaching now, they say, at the Melbourne school. And there's a lot of people actually. She's never been involved at that time. She's never getting any.
Because I don't know if you know this, Alan, but around here, when you hear the name Buller, you straight away think of boxing. It's like Tyson, like in America, if you hear Tyson, you think of boxing. It honestly, I'm not the only one to think this. Around here, like Ashton, Newbig and all that, when you hear the name Buller, people straight away think, oh shit, you know, like boxing.
Newbig and Ashton, like Ashton straightforward. They always had something rubbed up against each other, didn't it? I mean, you can't do it. I've often heard them in Newbig and something say, what do you think of Buller's lad? Why, if you want to learn how to dance. And then I told them and say, well, down back and tell them, look, my lads do need to tell them.
Sometimes people just use your name randomly in threats, like, oh, I'll get Buller on you. It's like, what?
I've had that before now.
It doesn't even, it's like half of the time you probably weren't even involved.
Exactly. It's nice to be nice in life, you know. If you're a bully, and you're a two-faced person, you're a bully, you're an arsehole, you know, you're what you are, and if you turn around and be proper, you know, see you into, and I look shit on this, but you know.
Oh, you say what you want on my podcast.
If you're gonna be one, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, let them get over it. You gotta get a lot of people who want to challenge you.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you hid that word, but you can say what you want on my podcast as long as it's not racism, and you're not a racist man, so we're open.
I'm not a racist. Why no?
Right, yeah. I think we've probably covered everything there, but it's been good. I'm gonna get you in again for a part 2 when I can see you man to man, because I hate all this.
Like we did in the office and all that.
I hate all this phone call carry on, you know, Buller. Do you know what it is? I've done podcasts with famous people and some very inspirational civilian people, and half of them have been over the phone because of this stupid bastard coronavirus.
I know, I'm sick of it, Richie. I was actually on a podcast with them other ones, you know, they pulled me in about 9 months, 10 months after he,
Is that the bad blood ones?
Aye. I'm not into what do you call it? Bad knuckle. I think it's just, you know, like just windmills and all that. You know.
I'm not a massive fan of bare knuckle boxing, but I can't deny it and say that I don't like it. But I'm not a fan of it as much as I am as the gloved boxing.
The technicability comes into it a lot. You know, you sooner see a bit, you know, a technical boxer or
I'd rather. I mean, because sometimes like people say, oh, you know, like when you take your gloves off, it means you're harder. But I'd rather have a match in the ring with the leather on, because you get to have more. You get to have more time and more fun. When the gloves are off, it's swing, knockout.
But you know something. It's the easiest factor that you're going to end up with broken knuckles and everything. You know, like, what's the point? If you hit somebody and you hit the crown of your sheath, that's near worst place in that. I've done that before, and in the end I've had my fingers disfigured for it. It can happen, you know.
I will take my hat off though to my pal Wayne Morgan though for bringing the World Championship to Asherton.
So. I know, Wayne. It was often a little thing, you know. You walk into a fight and you get 2 belts, and it's only one fight. But give him his dues, like he studies growing belts, you know. Another guy with another belt, which I don't think he's going to take on, Francis.
Yeah.
I know him because he was on the podcast. You know what I mean? In the amateur boxing, I've met up with a few, you know. Richie Woodall, interested in him, what's his name? Matty Wild, interested in that lassie and all that I had boxing, young Karen Wright.
Aye.
I've spoken to, what's his name, at the Conscious Civic Centre, Frank Bruno.
Aye.
Ricky Hatton, the Discovery. I came back to the what do you call the concert, right? And I had the 2 Joshes. Josh Johnston, the young kid that was going places, and Josh Hodgson. And this guy come over, he watched young Josh Johnson, right? And he went, oh. And I came past him with another guy. Josh wondered why the guy, it says, it's 20, he says, I don't have your narrow soon, when I tell you. He went, but at the end of the day, he says, there's the photograph. It usually costs £20, per person for me to sign these photographs. He says, what's your name, Josh? He says, I'll tell you what. I'm going to sign, he says, a tenner for both of you. He says, and it's going to be, you know, he says it's going to be all across the top. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And when the name come up underneath, Josh went, is he any good? I went, Stevie Collins.
Whoa.
I says, is he any good? He's a legend. I says, you know, you've heard of Eubank and Benz. I love Ben.
Nigel Ben, he was
a Celtic warrior. Stevie Collins, you don't know, you just put out with a man like that. He says, I just don't know who he is. And then Glenn McCorry, I've known Glenn for donkeys. Many shows I was talking to Glenn. So it was like Glenn McCorry, Steve Collins, Richie Woodall, Frank Brewer, Ricky Hatton. You know.
Well, I did a couple of shows at Newbigin boxing events with Glenn on commentary, so that's how I got to know him through Coast Radio. He's a good man. I like him.
He's selling some windows.
I really like Glenn McCrory though. He's a good man. I've got a lot of time for him. Like,
I mean, there's another thing, you know. He tried his best, didn't he?
Well, he got screwed our man, didn't he?
Lex Lewis. You know, I got money on that one. Actually, I says he might last one round. I says, no disrespect to him, but I says Christ against Lewis at the time.
He just simply wasn't ready. He got screwed over after the Patrick Lumumba fight, you know.
I got 50-1 for round 2, you know.
Aye, fucking hell.
Oh, I remember that night. I was watching it down those seats on Sky, you know.
But because he was telling us it when he won the title off Patrick Lumumba, he says after that he just got screwed over and he wasn't ready for heavyweight.
The cruiserweight title.
Aye, that was it. The World Cruiserweight Championship from Patrick.
People look at people like Mayweather, Collard, and the district, right? Pacquiao obviously is basically the same, right? But you see the difference with the English ones, even though they're half decent to get C4. The point is, I once watched Contender. That was when Sugar Ray Leonard was on the Contender.
Aye.
These were this to get to the final and win it. This was a livelihood, you know. They were dragged up, and this guy got in the final, and he says, "This coloured lad." He says, "This is my time." He says, "If I don't win this, there's no food on the table for the band." He got beat, and then they found him hanging. You see, you've got coloured lads, and you know, you've got the likes of Wilder and them. You see, they're being dragged up. Most of the lads like Bruno and them, you know, Glenn. It's not so much it's a must. I win this. It's got to be, you know, like I've got to win this. This is my livelihood. This food on the table.
Well, I think the World Boxing Council's just got simply need time for people from the northeast of England. No. Most of the entertainment industry just looks at us like we're scum, you know. They ignore the fact that we're here, you know. In any sport or even music, you know.
See, I once spoke for 2 minutes at the most of a guy who passed and was in a hurry. Right? Now this guy was a class boxer, but I think the one fight that he ended up getting beat was the altitude he boxed in, or he was Wigan.
Yeah.
He boxed on Cruise.
See, that's it. But
can you remember that one?
Nah.
Oh, I would do the altitude, you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It's what I mean, though.
And that's another thing as well.
Outside the ring was like,
just pure arrogance got the better of him. Just pure arrogance got the better of him.
Well, there's been some good boxers English-wise, you know. There has been some good English ones. But you know, you look at. I think the only thing you haven't got with lads from abroad and coloured lads, you never see a coloured store, do you?
Nah.
You see the boxers and the athletes.
Yep.
The early athletes, Risky and all them, and Lewis. You see the boxers, Mayweather, you know what I mean? You see a lot of the boxers, you see a lot of the runners, the athletes, you know, a lot of things, but you never see it called somewhere here.
No, that's
some of these oils and skin, they're not like so totally like taking to the swimming and everything. That's something to look at it because you know, you've got the athletes, you've got the boxers now.
My last question to you tonight, Buller, is out of all of the years of you being in the game, who produces the best boxers, the United States of America or the United Kingdom?
United States of America, it's got to be in it. Let's be honest, I mean, they're far more, you know, that work rate, the coaching, like I said, this comes back to the position where you got Mike Tyson dragged up from the Bronx, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got no disrespect of Bruno there, but they never had it hard. They've got the silver spoon, and then when you look at the guys, you know, you just got to get off what I said before for that episode with the Contender.
We need someone from Ashington to get the world title. I mean, come on, let's have it straight, Buller. There's no one having it rougher than a lad that grew up in Woodbridge.
I'm still waiting to see if this Andy Little get back because I might give him some food parcels also put a bit more weight on him.
I tell you what it is, I'll send him some food parcels our Christmas and New Year if he lets you box his lugs off. I want to see it. I want to see Alan Buller Senior back in the ring one more time.
He just laughed at us when I said it, you know, Richie. He just laughed at us.
Well, if he doesn't fight you, I'll box his lugs off for you.
You'll do it for me, yeah?
Aye, I'll do it for you. If he doesn't fight you, I'll fight him.
He's doing more for me, yo. Right, before you go,
Go on.
My days when I'm doing that, I get bored, you know. I do sketches and things like, you know. I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, I've seen loads of your drawings. You're good.
Oh, you've seen them?
I've seen them.
New mates and the grandkids or dogs and cats. And,
aye.
You know, I just love just sketching them, but it's just something, it passes the time away when you're doing out. You know, somebody's decent at something, you know, in one stage in life, it was either, this was my thing was play football for these snow, get safe on the football, right? Do the running over the 4 mile, which I was well recognised all over, which I should have done after the cross country and what do you call it? Sketching, art. I just used to love it.
I want you to do 2 pictures for me for the new year.
Well, if you just send us them over, and I'll try my best. Most of them, 94% of them get done. If I have any problems at different things, like some people, I get 2 together.
I want one of their. I want one of their Rocky Balboa, and I want one of Alan Shearer.
Rocky Balboa.
Aye, because honestly, God, and that sounds funny, but growing up, still to this day, he's an inspiration to me. I know he's only a fictional character, but it's just some of the stuff he come out with. Like. You can't go around pointing fingers at him or her and saying that's why you failed. It ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I think Mickey, what weight do you think he is, Mickey? He's about 150 pounds.
No, that's ye, that. That's definitely ye, that. Again, hey, yo, Alan Buller, how much do you think he weighs? How much do you...
rather have Balboa, or you'd rather have the other one? The junior lass or the kids or whatever, you'd rather have the part-time boxers, isn't it?
I could just imagine you being...
What do you call him? I've done, what's his name? I've done Tyson Fury, I've done Wilder.
Oh, no, I'm not interested in all that clot
I've
on.
done Don King.
Oh, I wouldn't have him in me hoose. You're joking.
The Dodge Potter box, he's probably made more money in the boxing than the best part of the whole British... in American boxing.
Don King can go and eat my boots, right? Because he's as corrupt. He's probably like the boxing version of Suge Knight.
You know something? If you read his book, I've got his book, right? He's done anything from refusing to pay parking fines, right, to under suspicion for murder, homicide, that. He's been everywhere, done everything.
He can go and suck farts, he's evil. He ruined Mike Tyson. He ruined him.
Did you see what he did to Tim Witherspoon?
Aye.
Definitely ripped him apart where he started taking the high courts and everything.
I tell you what it is. I bet there's a fair few boxers want to give him a right uppercut. Lift him out of his Nike Air Max. Go on. Bang.
You'd think you just stuck his finger in the plug, wouldn't you?
Either that or he's been buying the wrong hair gel for him. His lass has been buying him the wrong hair gel.
Another person who's got the same haircut, all right? Boris.
No, Boris Johnson just looks like he skinned a cat and put it on his head.
You know something? Boris Johnson, right, for being Prime Minister, he's certainly, he's not bothered about your pyjamas and his hairstyles. He's supposed to go and see for, to show people what he is, educated, well-dressed, nice hairstyle. He's out for that, like.
Oh, I didn't think he cares about his vanity, like, to be fair. Which, in a way, I kind of give him, but he's a Prime Minister, he's got to give the right impression. But, see, me, I'm not even in politics, and I like wearing a good dicky dirt and a pair of jeans, But...
I know, but you wouldn't get any with a haircut like he's got, though.
No, but you're lucky I'm a bass. I'm lucky if I've even got any left at 30.
You know what it is? I'll avoid his barber. That's for certain. His barber.
Avoid his barber. With my genetics from my father, I'm lucky if I'm even going to go into a barber in the next 5 years.
I seen your mother up the street there a few weeks ago, it was,
aye?
The past.
Aye.
She said you're not making any money there, so I need to go around the corner. I was at a tool shop.
It's scary how much I'm looking like my dad, though, but like, you see me on the street now, you'd be like, oh, Bassy, Vince. No, it's Richie.
Does he still fix a good car, like? Does he still get under the bonnet?
Yeah, he'll always fix a good car, him. That's his life.
He's always under the bonnet, isn't he?
He is. If he's not under a bonnet, he's under a bloody can of beer or something. I don't know.
I think he spent more time under a car than he did under your mother, do you know that?
Hey! And on that note, we'll end it. But thank you.
Send a picture anyway of whatever.
I will do.
Whether it's family, pets, whatever.
Mint.
I just don't mind, cracks. Fine, well.
Spot on. Thank you very much for coming on the day, and I wish you all the best. Have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Richie. And I hope this COVID, I hope it gets back by June. When I've got boxers there and I can get back to it, just back to the same old way, and then never know. We'll have a gossip about it and
exactly.
See how the lads will come on, you know. And you never know, Andy Noon might see the light.
That's it, why not? Wait, I'm going to say good night and God bless.
Likewise, Richie. It's a pleasure to be on, mate.
Ta-da, bud. There you go, Mr. Alan Buller, the Mickey Goldmill or Customato of the northeast of England. So, thank you for joining me tonight. Like, subscribe, hit the bell.